Meanwhile, the darling of the Tea Party movement, because I think like some commentators on the right have said, he's an authentic black guy. Right? Who was that said that? One radio guy or that Cain calls into? He's an authentic black man, not like Barack Obama, who's a half black guy.
American Family Association's radio host Brian Fisher called Herman Cain the real black man.
Yeah, it sounds like a guy who's real qualified.
That's almost like, it almost sounds like it's going to be like the name of a summer sort of like shitty comedy. You know, it's like Herman Cain is the real black man.
Could also make a good reality show. Next top black guy or something.
There you go. And then they cut into that, you know, they show Herman Cain going around being black, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoop. What happens when the real black guy meets the half black guy? And then you cut in with the James Brown music, and all of a sudden the hijinks, and they're in the car, and they're going across country. So Herman Cain, you know, I first heard this when I was down at the 828 rally, when they were attacking the health care bill because it was so long. And the people said, you can't even read that thing. There should be a law that says you can't have a bill that is longer than 100 pages. That should be the law. And I said, oh, and that bill would have to be under 100 pages too. Well, yeah, of course. Well, Herman Cain, 100 bill. No. Herman Cain knows there's only two things you need to know. What's the address? What's the toppings? You don't need to know anything else. What's the address? What's the toppings? Job done. Job completed. So Herman Cain, who you'll recall, did we play this where he was asked by Chris Wallace, was it? No, I think I commented on this. I was on MSNBC. He was asked about the Middle East by Chris Wallace on Fox News, sort of essentially the next friendliest place he could go to be interviewed short of his living room by his own family. What do you believe about the right of return? And he just looks at Chris Wallace. This is in the context of the Middle East. Maybe some of you don't know what I'm referring to, what I mean, right of return in the context of the Middle East. But I presume you're not running for president. In what may be one of the pivotal issues in one of the central conflicts which defines our entire foreign policy. And he looks at Chris Wallace and he goes, right of return. And Chris Wallace says, yes, the right of return. And he looks at Chris Wallace and he says, right of return. And Chris Wallace says, yes, right of return, the right of Palestinians to return to. Oh, well, I think that should be negotiated. Which, I must say, brought a smile to my face because that is a huge stumbling block in the Arab-Israeli, the Palestinian-Israeli negotiations, and I too believe it should be negotiated. And then he had to come out and say, I had no idea what I was talking about, but I'm going to do some homework on it.
He thought he was asking if he could return a pizza that he ordered or not.
Right of return? Absolutely. If you've got your receipt. If we're not there in 30 minutes. I mean, he may be a smart guy, but he is completely unknowledgeable about things that he should at least have some passing knowledge of to become president. But there's a way to get around that. If right of return did not involve all the historical knowledge you need to know from pre-1948, probably 47, 46, 45, and all of the issues that have been involved in almost every negotiations between Palestinians and Israelis over the past 20, 30 years, if that could be condensed into like a half-page memo, maybe we could resolve this thing. And as such, he's smart enough to know we got to do the same thing with the whole country. No more 1,000-page bills. No more 100-page bills. No more 50-page bills. Dude, we got to bring this shit down into the single digits.
Engage the people. Don't try to pass a 2,700-page bill, and even they didn't read it. You and I didn't have time to read it. We're too busy trying to live, send our kids to school. But that's why I'm going to only allow small bills. 3 pages. You'd have time to read that one over the dinner table.
3 pages.
Surprised he didn't go with 8. We could have had a bill pie.
double spaced, wide margins, 2-inch margins. Now, has he backed off this now?
Somewhat.
All right, let's hear him.
I need to ask you about something you said recently, which was that you would not want to sign a bill that was longer than 3 pages. Now,
Yes.
I looked at some bills. First of all, the Fair Tax, which you back, is 131 pages. The
Yep.
Patriot Act,
Right.
Civil Rights Act, Bush tax cuts, all longer than 30 pages. Defense appropriations bills are always
Right.
longer than 3 pages. How can you keep that promise?
Brian, that was an exaggeration.
Okay.
It was an exaggeration to drive home a point. I want short bills. So it was an exaggeration. I want short bills. I want clean bills. In other words, when they write a bill, I wanted to address the particular topic that
All
it
right,
was supposed
stop
to
it.
address.
I don't even want to hear his explanation. It was an exaggeration. What I was trying to show was how unknowledgeable I am about the process. And I wanted to show how willing I am to talk down and treat people and spread the ignorance and moronickness. That's what I was trying to do. By saying that the bills should be short. That should be the definition of a good bill. The length of it. Of course. That was an exaggeration.
I don't really want to eat the whole pie. I just want 4 slices.
4 slices.